Thank you very much. So, my talk is about Seppo, the onboarding and installation of a full-fledged ActivityPub server, and this without any root permissions or root know-how. So, for people not being system administrators by day. The reason why is this interesting, the internet today is dominated by a few companies, and it's more and more feudal in its appearance. It's criticized by Cory Doctorow and Yanis Varoufakis, for example. And the question is, what can we do about it, other than just watching? The situation is dire. Nobody is in charge of their own things. The big websites do it all for you. The second problem is, very few people have root permissions on servers that are in the internet. So if I can ask you, who of you has root permissions on a server that's accessible and reachable from the internet? This is the SFSCon. Yes, yeah? This is the SFSCon. But how many of your friends have root permissions on servers? And how many of your neighbors, not seat neighbors here at the SFSCon, but in the street where you live? And when you look into the classes at school of your children and look around, how many of the parents there have root permissions on a server on the internet? So this is a huge, and we're here at the SFSCon, so we're here as internet-y as you can get. And this is a huge democracy issue, because it limits participation dramatically. And there is very, very few done against, because having root, well, that's such a precondition to do anything on your own. What can you do if you do not have root permissions? At first, you can accept it and say, well, yes, I don't have root permissions, I don't have root know-how, so be it then. And add a nice profile picture to the service of your choice, and that's it then. Or you can try to become root. Not everybody has interest in picking up a new hobby, and it can be a time-consuming hobby, becoming root over several years. Or you can hire a root that does the heavy lifting for you. Or you can cultivate your small allotment of the internet where you maybe do not need such root permissions. And this is how the internet was 20 years ago, when there was such a concept as shared hosting, where you hired a domain name and got storage with it and put your things there. And you didn't need to have root permissions to do that. You just uploaded your stuff there, and the whole rest of the administration of the server was out of your reach, out of your responsibility, and couldn't be broken by you. They didn't need that know-how. So, and this was the take I tried, and was funded by NLNet and NGI Zero with this experiment. Is this idea feasible 2025, that you can operate an ActivityPub server without being root? Short answer, yes it is. And the steps you need to take are, at first you need to rent a space. Where will your web presence be? So this can be maybe at a free hoster. I didn't try, but the usual way is that you go to one of the big shared hosting providers. They charge you, let's say, €2 per month, and for these €2 you get a domain name. You have to pick your domain name. This can be tempting and can be difficult to choose a domain name. And then you get the domain name and the storage. The hoster explains how you upload things, and then you download. You have the shared hosting, okay. And this is a space you are fully responsible for. So whatever is on this space is your own decision, is your own liability. There is no small print. There is legal obligations you have to follow. You must not sell drugs, blah, 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 and so on. But there is no other small print than the basic legal rules from society. Then you download one single file, the program I produced, and upload it to that web space. So that then you need a upload program. The screenshot you see here is from FileZilla. It looks a little bit like a file explorer. On the left side is your machine. On the right side is the remote machine. You need to enter the credentials you get from your hosting provider where you bought the web space. It's a username and a password. You enter it there, and then you can upload the file. It's one file. It's a statically linked CGI for those who care. And it has no database. It requires no database. It requires no PHP scripting. It requires nothing that is usually subject for attacks. So there is no SQL injection. There isn't even a database, as I said. Next is you enter the according internet address of your server that you rented, plus, if you created a subdirectory, the name of the subdirectory, plus Seppo CGI once into your browser. Hit enter, and in the same moment, on the server, the CGI unpacks assets, styles, images, and displays them to you, asks you, what do you want to have as a name? What do you want to have as a password? And off you go. The result immediately looks like what you see on the right side in the screenshot. This is the ActivityPub server, the public view as visitors see it. Then you can log in, and then you can post. Then you can subscribe to others and be subscribed. And your name is left part, what you chose last, right, when adding the password, and right part is what you purchased from your hoster. So this is your own name, your own space, your own material, and you can subscribe and be subscribed to the whole ActivityPub sphere. So every Mastodon server can subscribe you, and you can subscribe every Mastodon. And this runs as long as you want that it runs. If you lose interest, you can just delete a bunch of files and they're gone. Otherwise, it will run forever because it doesn't do much. It only becomes active when you post a new post. Then it recreates the according feeds. And if somebody you follow posts something, you get notice and you get it displayed in your view after what you see after login. So, underlying were several design goals. As it has to be operated by normal people with a normal life, it had to be extremely simple. It must not require lots of additional knowledge. And so I always chose safety even over simplicity and over all else. And it's statically linked. That means it has all it needs in its belly. And it's single user, easy operation. Single user means there are no malicious users and there is no moderation for incoming stuff that will display on your space. So you will not be taken liable for something somebody else posts and ends up on your space. So what you publish publicly is only what you wrote. Then it has no database, reduces complexity a lot. Then it has storage in more or less readable text files. So whenever you're curious, what is lying around on this space, you can look into each file, not into the images, but into all other text files. You can look into it and see things you may remember because you wrote them yourself. The rendering is done browser-side via XSLT because what you produce when you post a new post is actually a new entry in an Atom feed. And the Atom feed is rendered in the browser with XSLT, or you can subscribe, or your visitors can subscribe it as Atom. Hopefully Google doesn't destroy XSLT in the next quarter because they have plans to remove it from Chrome. Chrome is their browser internet reading product. Soon nobody will use any longer. And JavaScript is optional. So there is no required scripting whatsoever, not on a server, not in the client. So it's very, very simple, very, very simple stack. This comes with some pain. It has no formatting. It is plain text. So it's no HTML, it's no Markdown, it's just plain text. And it's alpha software. It is very, very few installations. At the moment, I have one for my own, but it's not even my own main ActivityPub presence. It has no favorite and no boost management at the moment. This could be done probably, but it isn't at the moment. There is no account move, and there are no images at the moment. So it's very limited. But you can see the concept of deploying your own server and not much else. The reason why I did this, what I think is democracy needs active participation and freedom of choice and agency and responsibility. And now the next slides are quick because I want to hear some questions afterwards. This we will skip. Then a little thing about the paternalist nature of web platforms that Tommy already mentioned in the beginning of this track today. And it's based on a huge imbalance of power. And this is not, you will not be able to remove that. I got inspired by several things. Among them, I'd like to mention Ivan Illich and Maria Montessori, for example. And then I say thank you, and I'd like to take some questions if you have.
Thank you, Markus. Yes, Markus said, thank you so much for your presentation. Markus said he would be very interested in questions about what he did. So Tommy, yes, please, you can.
Why did you choose Ocaml as a programming language?
Yes, at the time in my previous work, we were discussing a lot on while commuting about functional programming, and there were enthusiasts for every flavor of kinds of functional programming, Erlang and Haskell and whatnot. And so I tried, for producing static CGI binaries, I tried Haskell, and the toolchain took way too long on a Raspberry Pi to finish, but Ocaml did. So Ocaml was a toolchain that was capable to produce such binaries, and I did it in the first place. At first I made it in Go until I realized that the Go stands for Google, and I wanted to remove Google from my toolchain. So I was on the hunt for something else, and then a European old language, being 20 years old, funded by European French Ministry of Education, came in really neat, and it produces nice binaries. It's a nice functional language, and I appreciate it very much, and I recommend it very much.
Some more questions? Yes, please, Johannes.
So basically, you're compiling this thing into an x86 executable that produces some kind of Apache match all kind of statement. Is that more or less?
Yes. Yes. So it's a x86 Linux 64 binary. It has several assets and has an HTXS among others. And it comes also with a sample configuration for Lite, but you will not be able to run this on modern web servers like Nginx or Caddy or stuff, because they don't do CGIs no more.
And you do all the outgoing sends on the thread that of the browser click?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Do you think after the NLF funding will be over that will be continued the maintenance or the development?
Frankly, I don't know. If there is interest, so I'm touring with this, and I'm very curious if there are activist groups that have this requirement. So if there is interest, it may well continue. Otherwise, it's an experiment going down in history.